Howdy, copy gang. Your boy is sick with stomach flu, but the show must go on. And today we're going to be talking about starting this series where we talk about the art of Elestrals and we go card by card talking about what works, what doesn't work, what direction we want to see moving forward, things that could be improved on, things that are already helping it stand out from other games. Um, and we're gonna be going with a rubric, just card by card, and saying this is the score that I'm giving this card. This is just a rubric episode to explain uh, how we're gonna look at them critically, and also beforehand, before talking about art critically, it's important to um, be specific that this is like critique, which is meant to be constructive criticism. We're not here to tear anybody down. Personally, like I know that sometimes I look at my old art that I thought was great at the time, and then a couple of years later I look at it and I go, man, I really didn't know how to draw at all. And I'm sure the same thing will be true 5 years from now. I'll look at what I'm drawing now and I'll be like, ooh, dang, that. But now I might feel like I'm drawing the heck out of it. Um, and the goal in this is to help um, Elestrals become a better game and help people also have more of a awareness of mythology and art and all the things to consider when making art for a trading card game because there's a lot to actually think about. So we can move into the categories. There are four categories that we're going to be talking about. They are the intra design, the context, the render, and the composition and cohesion categories. The first category we're going to talk about is the intra design. Intra meaning inside, within. That's kind of a lie because it is also a little comparative. Um, Here is a diagram of different monster types that are pretty common throughout the monster genres. And so when we are comparing intra designs and what makes a 4 versus what makes a 5 or what makes a 3 is comparing it to other monsters in the similar monster genre that it's in. Um, but the intra design itself is just how good of a design is it, regardless of how well the art itself is drawn, regardless what design choices were made besides the design of the monster. So something that we will talk about as we get to them is that stellars can have uh, different scores in this. But if there are cards that have multiple arts, like there are alternate arts of one monster, those alternate arts will have the same design score, except for stellars, which are recoloring. Or if there's some other design element change, like there's a costume change, like Captain Pikachu or something like that. But it is the design itself we'll be looking at. Do the colors work well together? Does it pop? Does it accomplish the goal it's going for? And is it evocative? Is it something for Elestral specifically? You might be looking at, well, how well does it convey the Greek myths that it's pulling from, or how well does it convey the astronomy side aspect? So there's a lot there. Next is probably the hardest category to structure. It is the context. And the context is anything that affects the design that's not the design itself. Um, so if I say that this looks good, but it would have been better in another set, I think that's something that I'll be thinking about a lot, set 2 onward. We have a lot of cards that have like establishing shot artworks. It's just them in their normal biome, and that doesn't give you a lot of personality. And then there are other things like there are a lot of cards that are very similar art-wise to each other. That can be an issue. That can even be a play issue if the arts are too similar. Like in Marvel Snap, when I'm playing with too many Inkifieds, sometimes I'll play the wrong card thinking that it's the right one. And the same thing can happen in other trading card games if the arts are too similar to each other. Um, and you also want to think, besides just a variety, we also want to make it feel like it belongs in this set. So For Frostfall, what I would expect would be a bunch of cards in the snow, cards coping with icy weather. Maybe they migrate into a cave. Maybe they build structures or hibernate, things like that. And from what I've seen, we're not getting a lot of that. So um, I would cap that at like a 4 if it doesn't hit that note. Now, not every card should be hitting that note. There's definitely a need for evergreen cards. Because if somebody doesn't like a set's theme, then they're not going to really resonate if every card in the set feels that. But for me, I really want to see a connection to the theme of the set. That's something that Magic does really well, something Yu-Gi-Oh does poorly, something Pokemon sometimes does and sometimes doesn't. The third category is going to be the render. This is going to be, if I'm saying it's well drawn, it's well shaded, they took the colors of the design and used them really well. Like there's good contrast or good use of low contrast. I love low contrast art when it matters, when it feels like a slow, calm moment. Um, there is good attention to light source. Um, all of these things are in the render. Most card games will have a pretty high render score. Elestrals, I would say, is a 3 to 5 out of 5 stars per card. And really the goal should be getting up to a 5 or like a 4 or a 5. Um, like, the big 3 usually sit at. Of course, there are outliers, but we're really looking at 4 or 5. This is a category that should be a given 5 points if you're running at the highest standard possible. Um, the last category is the composition and cohesion. This category, okay, first off, from an art standpoint, composition is how you are laying out um, things in your image. So, maybe the border is too close to the image and it causes an awkward tension where you're looking at the left side instead of the subject itself. That is a composition issue. There are other composition issues, like there are so many composition issues you can come up with, like, hey, this thing that was right next to this other thing of a similar color makes it all look blobby. That's a composition issue. But you can also have a lot of cool composition designs, like things that you wouldn't normally put together, but since the artist did, it makes a really cool image. This can also go more into the style, like with the cohesion aspect. With the cohesion aspect, it's not only does the design look good, did you put it, did you make the image look correct and stand out, but does it all work together? Does it make the atmosphere, the vibe that you're trying to create? Um, and this is like another mostly just how successful is the artist at making the design. So that is going to be our categories. Our first card will be Taratless. I'm also looking at maybe doing mini documentaries at the beginning and seeing if that feels right, if it feels worth it. But Taratless is going to be our first card. I was aiming to have it done this week, but because of my sickness, that's not going to be possible. Um, but thank y'all all for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, whatever. Especially if you're thinking that this rubric needs to be adjusted before we hop in, that'd be a good comment. Or if you already have thoughts about Taratless, we're going to be going over all the different arts of Taratless. So, yeah, thanks, Okapi Gang. Y'all have a great day.